It's the ultimate fighting machine, the iron fist of infantry warfare, always first to face the enemy fire, built to take ground by force. The tank is tough, armed, and designed to kill. Tanks are mobile fighting machines, tracked vehicles that carry lethal guns to the battlefront.
The tank allows you to close with and destroy the enemy aggressively. And the tank is the primary means of decisive engagement on the battlefield today.
From the First World War, when tanks broke through the barbed wire of the Western Front, to Desert Storm, when they liberated Kuwait, the tank has controlled 20th century history. Tank crews are skilled fighters. Most tanks carry a crew of 4. 3 of them are squeezed into the turret on the top of the tank. The driver lies inside the hull right at the front. The crew is protected by heavy armor, and today's tanks weigh up to 70 tons. Armies win wars only if their tanks are more advanced than the enemy's. But no tank is completely invincible. There's a billion-dollar arms industry dedicated to killing the tank. This is the U.S. Army's state-of-the-art tank, the M1A2. With its computer-controlled firing systems and digital communications, this giant lump of metal is highly sophisticated.
The A2 is really the first information-age tank. It's more like a computer behind an armored box. It really is the dawn of a new era in tanking.
It's also extremely powerful. The gas turbine engine delivers an awesome 1,500 horsepower.
The tank can go 30 miles an hour cross country, allowing the gunner to engage targets out to and beyond 2,000 meters. That's more than most off-road vehicles can go at 30 miles an hour. Cross country, you're shaking all over this place. Imagine driving 68.5 tons. This thing weighs 68.5 tons, fully combat loaded.
Inside the rotating turret is the tank commander. The gunner sits at his feet, and the ammunition loader operates on the opposite side of the turret.
Sir, up, Charlie 902, headquarters 60, Redcon 1.
I feel safer inside a tank than anywhere I've ever been before. Armor on it is outstanding. The chemical protection system is outstanding. And there's nothing like firing that gun.
I'll scan from TRP 1 to 2. Driver, you scan from TRP 1 to TRP 3.
The tank is fitted with a laser rangefinder, which detects the target's position. Then the onboard computer determines the correct elevation and angle of the gun. This gives the crew a fearsomely efficient first-round kill rate.
Scan for troops. Identify troops. Target, cease fire. Gunner coax troop. Identified. Fire and adjust. On the way.
They can hit up to 6 targets in a minute, as far as 2.5 miles away.
This tank is dangerous. It's got no conscience whatsoever. It don't care what it kills, but it's made to kill. And that's where we use it. We don't take this tank lightly one bit. Anybody that's on the other side shouldn't either.
Gunners, Sabo, tank, designate. Up. Fire and adjust. On the way. Target.
While the gunner fires at one target, the commander can use his independent thermal viewer to identify the next.
Got it. I'll scan from TRP-1 to TRP-2.
So I can go ahead and stay on one target. He's already scanning for another target. So the process never stops.
Driver move out. Gunner take over. Driver stop. Target. Identified. TRP-2 left side. Designate.
As a loader, it's my job to get the rounds into the gun tube as fast as I can. The faster I get the round into the gun tube, the faster the gunner can hit the target.
The fourth member of the crew is the driver. He sits in a space just big enough to fit his body, inside the heavily armored hull of the tank.
The battle position, when the seat is down, you're laid back. It's like driving a futuristic car with T-bars. It's like laying in a lazy boy recliner. It's very nice. It's comfortable.
Target. Press. On the way.
The driver responds directly to the commander's instructions.
He is my navigator. He's my overhead view of everything around. He sees more than I can see. He tells me where to go, what to do, because he knows what's ahead of us and what's behind us.
Yeah, while you're driving, we'll go ahead and swing it around and head back over there, all right? Roger.
Being in the Army as a tanker is a very good feeling. I feel pretty good with this tank.
902, headquarters 60, agent destroyed. 2 enemy tanks, 1 set of troops. Time now, continue mission.
Tank crews are trained in simulators, which create battle scenarios.
Hey, you're up! Boy, this is 1 over. To your right. Got him? They're firing out there. White elements, white 1, hold. How many rounds we got left? That one and 2 more. Hey, start cross only right now. Start cross only. There's an enemy tank right there. Who's dead? We're indexed. Good, because you got helicopters coming in on top of us now. You got green helicopters? We have 3 helicopters. Stand right.
Gunners, Sabo, chopper, fire.
Ah, I missed. It's going too fast. Say again, last. 27 vehicles destroyed.
Yep, you got 3 now. You got the one in the middle coming up pretty close.
The drivers learn to maneuver their tanks in these simulators.
Back it up.
The experience is so real, they will only need 1.5 days training in a real tank.
Well, to drive a basic tank, it's just like a little kid would have a bicycle, have 2 hands on the steering wheel, just give it throttle, just accelerate like a little kid playing with a motorcycle, just giving it gas, and that's basically it. And then you got your start button. We don't have keys, it's just pushing the button and it starts the tank up. And here in the front, your steering throttle, you have a R for reverse, an N for neutral, a D for drive, and an L for load. And stopping would be like a car. You have your brake pad here in the bottom, and just also you got the emergency brake on the other side. Controlling the tank by steering it is just moving it from left to right. So if I was to move it left, I would take my hand with my left hand and pull back and moving it left that way, and vice versa with the right. That is a basic way to drive a tank.
But real training only comes when the tank crew acquires first-hand experience, right in the middle of a battle, firing live ammunition. At the National Training Center at Fort Irwin in California, the U.S. Army replicates realistic battles. Here the tanks are joined by other mobile units to deliver a combined arms assault. These ultra-realistic war games were the prime reason for the outstanding performance of the U.S. armored units in the Gulf War. Desert Storm was the last great test of the tank. In 4 days, the Allied coalition evicted the Iraqi forces that had invaded Kuwait. Some 2,000 M1A1s were the backbone of the most powerful armored force ever mobilized. Desert Storm began with a furious air campaign. The ground war followed. Using computerized firing systems, the Allied tanks took the Iraqi tanks completely by surprise.
We began to hit them before they could ever even acquire us, let alone return fire. It was truly a devastating effect that was in fact quite lopsided, and consequently it put them in a position to decide whether if they wanted to stay and die, try to run and die, or to surrender. And they did a little of each.
It was a decisive result. In just 100 hours, over 2,000 Iraqi tanks were destroyed. The world's fourth largest armored force was reduced to tangled metal.
The pure explosion of kinetic energy is something to behold. It's almost as if you see a phosphorus fire, an instantaneous flash, which then would ignite onboard munitions and fuel, which would then give you a secondary explosion, which would take the in the neighborhood of 15 to 20 ton turret and expel it into the air as almost as if a garbage can was flying in the air, and it would land anywhere from 50 to 100 meters away from the tank.
Despite the ferocity of the ground battle, not one single M1 was destroyed by enemy fire.
At the end, you turn around and look, and they're all still there, and the troops are smiling, and they're glad that they were able to do their mission. Is just something to behold.
Tanks were invented by the British Army to help fight the trench warfare of the First World War. In 1916, millions of soldiers were pinned down by German machine guns and artillery on the Western Front. They were in desperate need of an extreme machine. The Holt Caterpillar tractor gave the British their inspiration. Military designers built a machine to carry guns that had a bulletproof engine and a revolutionary system of Caterpillar tracks. It was built to bridge the German trenches and crush the mounds of tangled barbed wire. These machines were kept so secret that the production workers were told they were constructing water carriers. So they got stuck with the name tank. Each machine had a crew of 8. The interior was almost unbearable. The men were often overcome by carbon monoxide poisoning, and for protection, they wore chain mail visors. It was at the Battle of Cambrai in 1917 that tanks made a spectacular debut. The Army took the Germans completely by surprise. When 400 tanks broke through the impenetrable barrier of barbed wire along the Hindenburg Line. The tanks advanced 5 miles in 6 hours. 4,000 Germans were captured. Soon the Germans built their own supposedly indestructible tanks, huge armored fortresses with a crew of 18. But they proved far too cumbersome and were easy prey for the Allies. During the last few days of World War I, it was the British tanks that chased the enemy back into Germany. The tank had made its mark as the ultimate war machine. Since the early days, the tank has become a much more sophisticated machine, but it still has the same priorities: survivability, mobility, and killing power. The armor on a tank has to provide protection for the vehicle and its crew. But if it carries too much armor, it can't move fast enough. The challenge is to gain maximum protection with minimum weight. For the M1A2, the armor is cut from steel plate. In places, protection is up to a foot thick. The total weight of this armored plate accounts for half the weight of the fully laden tank. Each tank is held together by 1.5 miles of welding. The welds alone weigh over half a ton. Tanks are built in 2 separate parts.
What goes in this big hole here is the turret, which contains the weapon systems of the tank.
Inside the hull are pipes and cables to link the digital processors which control the tank.
It's more like a computer within a big armored box, sort of like your internal LAN system within your home PC.
The systems are high-tech, but the tank's mobility still depends on the continuous tracks invented 80 years ago. They're designed to spread the weight of the tank over a large surface area, so it's less likely to get bogged down. On the M1A2, each track is 50 feet long, made up of 79 metal segments with replaceable rubber blocks. The tracks are driven by drive wheels, powered by the engine at the rear of the tank. The tank is steered by altering the speed at which each track is driven. The killing power of a tank is determined by its firepower. The main armament of the M1A2 is the 120mm smoothbore gun. Before it is installed into the tank, every gun is tested with live ammunition. Tanks are controlled by computer, and every last electrical component must be checked. These systems also allow the crew to communicate by email with the command center and to receive pictures showing where the tank stands on the battlefield. When the turret and the hull are completed, they're joined together. The seal is so perfect that it protects the crew from chemical warfare. Each tank consists of over 5,000 parts and costs $4.5 million. The final stage is to paint the exterior in the relevant camouflage colors. From start to finish, it takes 4 months to build each tank. Before any tank is delivered to the Army, it's put through its paces to make sure it's fully functional. If there are any operational problems, they're easy to identify.
This tank will tell you when it's not feeling well. And not only will it tell you when it's not feeling well, it'll tell you what part of it isn't feeling well.
The advanced suspension system is tested on the factory's bump track. These trials include acceleration tests up to its top speed of 42 miles per hour and an emergency stop.
It can go from 30 miles an hour to a full stop in 10 feet.
It can hold steady on a 60-degree slope. And it can cross a river up to 4 feet deep.
When I first got on this tank and got trained on it, my immediate thought was, man, it's the closest thing to flying without leaving the ground. I mean, you get into that and it's like entering a whole new world in the capabilities, the functionalities, and the potential that this weapon system has over previous weapon systems.
This is the Challenger 1, the British Army's main battle tank. Armed with a 120mm rifled gun, it has a formidable reputation. The Challenger has a diesel engine. It's less powerful than the gas turbine engine of its American counterpart, but its transmission and hydro-pneumatic suspension allow it to travel just as fast. It's 7 o'clock in the morning on a live firing range in South Wales. Tank Commander Sergeant Pritchard and his crew of 3 are arriving for a critical day in their training calendar. Today they will fire live ammunition at both static and moving targets, using both their main gun and the coaxial machine gun.
As it goes on targets killed, they'll present 11 targets which are main armament and 3 targets which are MG machine gun. And the aim of the day is to go down there and destroy every one of them.
These live ammunition exercises are deadly serious. The next time these crews fire their guns, it could be in real warfare. Sergeant Pritchard receives the signal for his crew to prepare their machine.
He's testing the whole crew, that they work as a team and that all the crew drills are going correctly, and at the end of the day, the aim is achieved by killing the target in the correct time allowed.
1-1, sir.
Right. A house, a BMP on 500. On 500. Fire. Fired. Now. Okay, keep scanning for more targets. House and BMP on. On. A 1000 go on. 2000 entered. Keep scanning. Target, deselect. Fired. Now. You're ready to move, driver. Fired. 1-1, now. No days.
1-0.
A 1000 go on front. Watch your front. First team, take over 1000. 1000. Missed that one. Fire another one. Come on. Get another one down there. Good lads. On. Fire. I think that's target. Target, well done. Keep scanning. Little men targets. Keep over the look over the left loader. On. Fire. Gone down. Miss that bugger. Don't worry about it. Short range. Yes, take 600. 600. Yeah. Fine. Now. Right, scan your arms, gunner. Where's the bloody smoke? How far left? How far left? Right, see it. First tank on. Quick as you can, mate. Quick as you can, loader. Fine. Unload clear guns. Well done, lads. We had a lot of problems there. We got through before through, so that's good.
We had a few problems on the run, but we scored 9 out of 14, which was a good pass. The systems went down a bit, so we fought the tank, and the tank proved good, and we passed the serial, which was good. And I'm very, very pleased with the way they performed.
The British Army is soon to take delivery of an even more sophisticated tank, the Challenger 2. It has a similar hull to Challenger 1, but a completely new turret with a new fire control computer. It's clad in the most advanced Chobham armor, the strongest in the world. Invented by British scientists, it's constructed from steel, interlayered with ceramic and tungsten rods. But exactly how this is achieved remains a closely guarded secret. The tank's impressive suspension provides a stable platform for the gun and a more comfortable ride for the crew. With the new firing system, the crew can detect and attack a moving target the size of a football 3 miles away. The 4-man crew can fire at 3 different targets in just 15 seconds. Today, over 100 nations use tanks as part of their fighting force. It's estimated that there are 40,000 tanks standing by, ready for action around the world. This is the German Leopard 2, the oldest of the modern generation tanks, but one of the most commercially successful. It's a very heavy tank, protected by masses of armor. It's capable of being completely submerged. And on rough ground, the Leopard is surprisingly maneuverable. This is the French Leclerc. It's a much lighter tank with exceptional agility, powerful acceleration, and a top speed of 45 miles per hour. It has an auto loader, which means it only needs a 3-man crew. It also has the longest gun of any main battle tank. This is the Russian T-90, an updated version of the T-72 that the Allied coalition fought in the Gulf War. The new tank has a low profile and is much simpler to operate. Armies are continually updating their tanks. so there's plenty of Army surplus. Millionaire Fred Ropke has the largest private collection of armored vehicles in the U.S. Fred was a tank platoon commander in the Marines, but even though he left the forces over 40 years ago, he still lives for tanks.
If you're in a tank that's really running right, in the old ones like these, you sometimes can't even hear yourself scream. You get so much movement, you get so much vibration, you get so many sounds, squeaks, groans, backfires, smoke. It's something that you have to experience to really know what I'm talking about.
This is his M41 Walker Bulldog, manufactured by Cadillac in 1951. At 20 tons, it's classified as a light tank.
I love it. I love this M41 Walker Bulldog better than all the others for its crew comfort. It may not be as historical or significant as some of the earlier ones, but it is a great piece of equipment.
Fred scours the world for his tanks and their spare parts. He and his colleagues can spend up to 2 years renovating each tank. But when they first arrive, many of them look beyond repair.
This tank was hit by a missile right in through the top. You can see the damage from the missile melting the aluminum and fusing the metals together.
This tank was destroyed by a Maverick heat-seeking missile.
The muffler here attracted the heat sensors on the missile, and it came right in through this area right here and exploded into the engine compartment here. Ignited both gas tanks on either side and literally melted the engine down, showing that a tank is not the invincible piece of equipment that so many people would like to believe. It attracts danger.
Out of the 40 tanks in Fred's collection, his team has restored 4 Shermans.
The Sherman is not so lovable, but it's a very forgiving piece of equipment. And if you have strong legs and strong arms and a strong constitution, you can survive driving the Sherman. It doesn't ask quarter and it gives no quarter, but it is a wonderful piece of equipment that you can count on.
Shermans were built to help the Allies fight the Second World War. In an amazing feat of mass production, 49,000 of them were produced to match the heavy armor of the Germans, and they became one of the most successful tanks in the war.
Because the Americans had the ability to produce a tank that the average farm boy could maintain and the average city dweller could learn how to drive, we were able to produce and literally outnumber the Germans. We ran them into the ground like fleas on a dog's back.
Ingenious modifications to the basic Sherman made it even more deadly. Heavily defended German positions were burned out using the flame-throwing Sherman. Mines were cleared using the flail on the Sherman Crab. The rocket-firing Sherman could launch up to 60 rockets in quick succession. But despite their versatility, the thin armor plating on the Shermans made it dangerous for them to directly confront the German tanks.
And it wasn't until the M26 Pershing came on the scene, very late in the war with the 90 millimeter, were we able to attack directly the German heavy armor.
The Pershing was altogether a much tougher tank. At 46 tons, it's the heaviest tank in Fred's extraordinary collection.
Tanks are like women. They vary as much as the personalities of individuals. Some are very easy to run, very easy to start, and very lovable, and others are very hateful. Some of them smoke and snort when they start, some whine. They are all different. This is such an historical piece of what our government had to offer, and there's so many civilians that went into the production, the manufacture of these tanks, and it's my job and my duty in honor of all these people and all of this effort to save what piece I can.
But not everyone who collects tanks treats them with such respect.
Old soldiers fade away, but old M47 tanks stay massive as ever. So if you have an old frame house that you want demolished fast, take a tip from the New Jersey contractor who's handling this job. A surplus tank is a lot less expensive than a bulldozer and even more brutal. Expensive to run, maybe. You only get half a mile to a gallon, but this is only a half-mile job. Through the house and back a few times. Talk about a bull in a china shop.
In Britain, anyone who has passed the driving test can take a tank on the public highway. John Gladden has been driving his yellow tank around London for years.
I own a tank because I enjoy going around in a tank. I find it very amusing. People's faces, it's just a fun vehicle. You can drive anywhere at all in the country. There's no restrictions, even to Buckingham Palace, wherever you want to go. If you turn up in a tank, everybody gasps and everybody looks, and it's just something a bit different. This particular tank doesn't carve up the road or do any damage to the road because it has these large rubber bricks that are inserted into the track, so there's no damage to the road whatsoever.
John's tank is a 1964 Abbott, all in perfect working order, except, of course, the gun.
Just so different from any other vehicle you see on the road.
On the other hand, driving a tank on American roads carries a stiff penalty. In 1995, an ex-Marine stole a tank from a military base and went on a rampage in San Diego.
This is the San Diego Police Department. Get out of the street and go back in your house. You're in danger.
See if we have any SWAT equipment that can help us out with this tank.
Amazingly, he didn't kill anyone, but a 45-ton tank can cause incredible damage.
Cars that are following them, I have no idea why.
I came home about 45 minutes ago, parked my truck where it's standing right now, where I live in this apartment complex, and I heard the noise, so I looked out my apartment window, and this tank is on top of my truck, just demolishing it, just disintegrating it.
Oh my God. Holy. Yeah, he's rolling over just about anything he wants to. This is bad. He's running over fire hydrants. You got hydrants that are blowing water in the air. This is the San Diego Police Department. Get out of the street and go back in your house.
Just as I got out in the driveway, he ran over my truck. And then he took out the telephone poles over there and he headed down the street and ran over that blue car right there, and then he went back and he ran over the fire hydrant and just kept on going.
Some people were lucky to get away with their lives.
My daughter says that the gentleman stood up out of the tank and smiled at her and ran right over the corner of the van.
After his destructive trip around the suburbs, he headed out onto the freeway. The police were powerless to stop him.
Somebody get a hold of the armory and find out if this thing is loaded.
He was finally brought to a halt when he tried to cross the reinforced concrete divider right into the oncoming traffic.
Ready to get the hatch open right now. The guy's still inside and he's not out. They can't get the hatch open.
Okay, 10-4, so he is stopped, though.
Well, he can't move, but he's trying to real hard.
The police took no chances and killed him with a single shot. The risk to the public of a runaway tank was too great. The best way to kill a tank is to use another tank. Tanks fire two types of ammunition. First, the discarding sabot round, which uses kinetic energy to pierce the armor of an enemy tank with sheer brute force. As the shell leaves the gun barrel, the sides drop away, leaving a rocket-shaped projectile, which can travel at more than a mile a second. The second type is a shell which explodes on impact and simply rips the tank apart. Another effective way to attack a tank is to destroy it with a missile. The great advantage of a missile is that it can be steered. It can also carry a massive warhead. Firing a missile is relatively easy, but guiding it to its target is something else. A wire-guided missile is literally connected to the firing post by a thin wire. The operator sends signals down the wire to steer it and make sure it hits the target first time. The Milan is the British Army's medium-range, wire-guided anti-tank weapon. It can travel more than a mile in 12.5 seconds.
Loading! Loading!
The American TOW missile has a longer range of over 2 miles. Its warhead can smash through 32 inches of armor. Tanks are designed to confront the enemy head-on, so their heaviest armor is at the front. But in the 1960s, the U.S. Air Force commissioned the A-10 Thunderbolt II specifically to attack the most vulnerable part of the tank, from above. The Gatling gun of the A-10 is capable of 4,000 rounds a minute. It fires armor-piercing bullets with a core of depleted uranium, which increases the force on impact. More recently, the F-16 fighter plane has taken on the role of tank buster. It is much more maneuverable and can get away to safety faster.
Another 5 seconds and then have a brake to the right.
Okay. Go 2-5. Over that.
Glider, say estimate.
Jerk Bingo about 3.
But in the last 15 years, the fixed-wing airplane has been pushed aside by the combat helicopter. Today, the chopper is the deadliest foe of the tank. The mast-mounted sight attached above the Tiger helicopter's main rotor transmits a digital picture to the pilot. He needs only to rise above his cover a short distance to launch a missile. Armed with Hellfire missiles, the Apache is America's main tank buster. The Hellfires are fire-and-forget weapons, which can fly up to 3.5 miles to their targets. They are guided by a laser in the Apache's nose.
Okay, I got the target. Coming down. That time. Your laser is armed, sir. Okay, come down. Okay, I got target right there. Roger. Let me go. Good Hellfire. It's a new target. You got somebody on the ground. We just had a kill here. Hand up. Let's see if I can get him to come back. Spot's on. Okay, I think that's it. And Team 2 will be covering egress from Toronto. There's load 6-1. I got 8 left. Use them on this egress. Stand down low. Team 2 fire. Roger. Nice shot, forward. 3, 2, 1. Fire. 3 is step. They're going, sir. We're out of here.
The very latest smart missiles can make their own decisions. Using onboard radar, they can identify specific targets, track them, and then destroy them. Now there is no hiding place for even the most sophisticated tank. Despite the risks which menace the tank, no other weapons system has yet replaced them as the leading force on the battlefield. The U.S. Army has 8,000 tanks standing by ready for action, a formidable fighting force. But for any army to win a battle, their tanks have to be one step ahead of the enemy. For the U.S. Army alone, there are 1,100 people working on tank design of the future.
The U.S. forces have been redeployed back to the continental United States, and therefore the combat vehicles must be lighter and more deployable. Plus, the number of people that we have in the Army is going down, and so you have to look at where you can do the same mission with fewer people.
This is their prototype tank, known as the Future Combat System.
The overall goal of the 40-ton concept was to reduce the internal volume and make the system as small as possible. The primary parameter that we were trying to reduce was the overall height of the system, which makes the system harder to detect at longer ranges.
It has a much lower profile than a contemporary tank. This makes it much harder to see and hit. Crews will be reduced from 4 men to 2, and instead of being seated in the turret, they will move down into the hull. In battle position inside the hull, they will be better protected, but their visibility will be restricted.
You have to rely on sensors, both onboard and external, and import those into almost a virtual reality so that the individual can look in a 360-degree world. The current crews we have difficulty, but the younger generation appear to be much more adaptable to that type of technology. We right now have more input than the more normal sensors the human body can handle. We would like to automate some of those, and he then applies what the human does best, which is decision making. Do I shoot, don't I? Do I fight, don't I? How can I best stay alive, and how can I best save my friends?
The new, lighter tank will have improved stealth technology to increase its chances of survival. At present, tanks have to be shipped to their destinations. But at 40 tons, this future tank is so light, it could be airlifted to face the enemy within hours. Every tank commander is keen to get his hands on this latest technology.
It's larger than just, when do you need a new tank? As a tanker, I would love to have one right away. Realistically, it probably will be quite some time before we see a revolution in the design.
We're talking about a system that's about 18 years away, 2015 or 2020.
Perhaps an even more astonishing development is the plastic tank. On this prototype, the plastic armor is incredibly light and strong. This tank is undergoing tests to investigate whether this lightweight armor will stand up to the rigors of battle. This tank could even be parachuted out of a plane. This type of technological breakthrough ensures that the tank will remain a major fighting force well into the next millennium.
The thought of being able to take and apply technology to increase the protection level and the survivability of the soldiers is very exciting. It is something that I think everyone's desire is to put the best equipment in the hands of the best soldiers in the world. That's what we're here for, that's what we want to do, and that's the whole goal of Future Combat Systems.